This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it, and so do I, that it does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Thursday, June the 26th of 2025, day 177th of the year. And only 188 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, no doubt there in regards of what is going on as we are hanging out and doing our thingo. No doubt there. So how have you been? How was the last 24? How have things been going? Things been moving? Things been grooving? Because I think it's important for us to talk about all of the fun stuff as we are doing the stuff in the world right here. So let's start talking immediately, if one may, in regards of what is happening. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety, just kind of the way that our world goes in regards of what we're doing. You go there, you hang out, we do our stuff, just kind of the way that it is. So with that being said, you can interact with the show going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging is the options. And then here's kind of the weird world that we live in. We are streaming across multiple networks right now. So that's how it works. We're live streaming. You can catch us on safetyfm.com. You can catch us on radiobig.fm, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, you name it, we're there. If you don't get to listen to us live, we repackage this version, hour uno, the 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. hour Eastern time. And we repackage it into a podcast. And you'll be able to listen to it on all kinds of podcasting networks as we are doing it. So just information purposes as we are hanging and banging. So with that being said, a lot of stuff going on. Little things, little time, and all that kind of fun stuff. So as we interact with this show, news-centric, safety-centric, and we kind of go through everything. So if you're ready, I'm ready, and then we move forward. Deal or no deal? Oh, is that how that goes? Okay, deal or no deal. So that's it. That is the that is the squaddle-oddle. So let's do this. Why don't we start talking about what the hell was trending in the overnight, because I think that some people are going to find that stuff super important, and let's do it.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I start taking a look at the trends at the ends, it will go something like this. The conflict with Iran moves from bombs to bites. So we'll talk about that. Prosecutors pull back on some claims against Diddy. We'll talk about that and show business. And also the The Chrisleys open up about their reaction to being pardoned by Lara Trump. We'll talk about details about that inside of casting calls. And then the former memorial for Queen Elizabeth take steps forward in the royals. So we'll talk about all that fun stuff here in just a tiny bit. So if you're ready for that, I have my friends waiting from Feature Story News, wanting to talk about all the stuff that they have going on. So if you're good, I'm good. We'll get into the news right now because it sounds like a plan.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. The crisis in the Middle East, the situation in Gaza and ongoing trade wars are expected to feature heavily in an EU summit taking place today. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
A number of the European leaders here were also in The Hague yesterday for the conclusion of that NATO summit. At that gathering, NATO agreed to significantly ramp up defence spending. A question for those here in Brussels today: how exactly to pay for it? Geopolitics is set to dominate much of the agenda. Big question about what role Europe can do to follow the US lead when it comes to trying to find a de-escalation and a diplomatic solution to the crisis ongoing in the Middle East. Other issues on the agenda: migration, climate policy, as well as trade disputes with the US. What can be done to ease those before that July 9th tariff deadline?
2 people have died and dozens are missing after flash floods in northern India. Labourers working on a hydroelectric power project are among the missing. Heavy rain and strong winds have hit northern regions as the monsoon season worsens. The UK government is facing increasing opposition from within its own party against planned welfare reforms. High-ranking officials from Downing Street are holding talks with Labour backbenchers threatening to rebel. More than 120 MPs have registered their opposition to the benefits cuts ahead of a Crunch Commons vote next Tuesday. The government says the changes will get more people into work and save up to £5 billion a year. Labour MP Nadia Whittome is among those opposing the cuts to disability benefits.
They're inhumane, they're unjust, they're unnecessary. They will no doubt result in deaths. So the only decent and credible thing that the government can do at this point is listen to disabled people, listen to 120 odd and counting backbench Labour MPs and just drop these proposals.
North Korea is opening a landmark tourism zone on its east coast, according to the country's state media. But authorities in the country haven't indicated when it will fully reopen its borders to foreign visitors. Rebecca Bunden reports.
The Wonsan Kalma coastal tourist zone can accommodate about 20,000 visitors and includes hotels, restaurants and sports facilities, according to the official Korean Central News Agency. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un toured and inaugurated the site at a ceremony this week, and it will open to domestic tourists next week. The country is planning to develop large tourist sites in other parts of the country too. North Korea still hasn't fully lifted the travel curbs it imposed during the COVID-19 pandemic though, which included a ban on foreign tourists.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, a political earthquake in New York City.
8 months after launching this campaign, with the vision of a city that every New Yorker could afford, we have won.
Get used to a new name in Democratic politics. Zoran Mamdani on Tuesday night pulled off a stunning victory in the race to become the Democratic Party's candidate for the post of mayor of New York. He beat former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who had to resign his position in disgrace over allegations of sexual harassment. Mamdani is a Democratic socialist. He favours free buses, rent controls, affordable housing and wants to open city-run supermarkets. At 35, 25, he is suddenly the standard bearer for a young generation of Democrats desperate for change in the party's leadership. Sarah Baxter heads the Marie Colvin International Reporting Center at Stony Brook University in New York.
He's from the progressive left. He was born in Uganda, brought up in South Africa, Muslim parentage, has said things like globalize the intifada, and he has a very realistic shot of winning the city.
Because he was born overseas, he will never be eligible to seek the presidency, but Mr. Mamdani's victory over Governor Cuomo is being seen as a major moment for younger Democrats. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, the crisis in the Middle East, the situation in Gaza and ongoing trade wars are expected to feature heavily in an EU summit taking place today. 2 people have died and dozens are missing as heavy rain sweeps northern India. The UK government is facing increasing opposition from within its own party against planned welfare reforms. And North Korea will reportedly open a landmark tourism zone on its east coast, according to the country's state media. That's the latest feature story news. John Beaver reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
It's my kind of music. I get the best mix of my favorite music. All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
Oh, yes, right around the corner on Radio Big is how they say it. But hey, what if you're hanging out on the Safety FM side of the house? Does that not count? I'm just wondering. I want to have better suited to understand exactly what is going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Anyways, 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out doing our thing. So let's get into it. Let's do our thing. Let's do some stuff. So I have to reference this because a lot of people talk to me about this all the time in regards of how systems fail them inside of their organizations, which I kind of find a little bit interesting as we get to talk about it, because they're starting to come to the realization that they're using the same crap they did before. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. So let's get into some news stories. Because why would we not do that? We are a news-centric show. And then we try to get into some safety stuff. And I still find it interesting that people get pissed off about that. Like, you only talk about news and then a little safety. It's called the hold on.
And it's called the Rated R Safety Show. So why isn't there more safety stuff? Okay.
And I don't get it because it's a combo of everything. And I guess I'll have to explain this once again. So let's do this behind the megaphone. We do it in this format. That way you can have other things to talk about, not just safety stuff. And we try to make sure that you're coherent in what's going on in the world today. Day. You get it? That's the point. That's the whole thing. Listen, I'm going to tell you this because this is what's going to end up taking place. The stuff that goes on inside of your organization, you're going to understand it better than anybody else. So I can sit here and tell you about, paper mills, steel mills, transportation, and guess what? You're still going to know 10,000 more things that I will ever know about those industries. But if I give you general stuff, and I'm talking about not the stuff from the general, we're talking about human aspects of things that are going on in the news. You have the conversation starters. And some people get pissed off about that. And you know what else I thought was kind of funny? People get pissed off about me talking about mental health. I had one asshole one time reach out and go, so mental health is now related to safety? Well, now that you have brought it up in that particular fashion, the answer would be yes. And I just don't get it. It's like, how do you not see both of those tie-ins together? It's like, come on. Let's kind of think genuinely here. So, as I'm going on my little rant this morning, because that's what it sounds like this is eventually becoming, sometimes I wonder if we kind of have lost, or should I say I have lost the focus of the show. And I don't think we have, but I think we need to retune a little bit. We need to retune about some of the stuff that's going on because we weren't doing it the right way. So maybe we start using our magic again in regards of what needs to happen, because I think we've kind of lost it a little bit, but let's kind of refocus on some of the things that need to happen inside of the show. Some of the stuff that needs to happen inside of the network. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that as we're talking about this, you just randomly start calling me out on some of the stuff that's good, bad, or indifferent, opposed to it just being the general conversation. So with that being said, let's get into some news, because if not, I'm going to rant all day. While a ceasefire might halt violent military offensives between Iran and Israel and the United States, the Islamic Republic hackers have been trying to wreak havoc behind the computer screens, which we kind of already knew this was going to happen. ABC's News is reporting that hackers funded by the regime have been targeting American banks, defense contractors, and energy companies to disrupt the economy and critical infrastructures, but so far have not caused any significant disruption. As much as American military power won the day in the region for now, our population reliance on digital services and technology make the nations particularly susceptible to cyber warfare. On Sunday, the Department of Homeland Security issued a nationwide alert to raise general awareness of such concerns. This is according to ABC News. ABC News as we are talking. So there you go. Take a listen to this. An estimated 5 million student loan borrowers are expected to enter the default by their balances by the end of September unless they get current. Credit reporting agency TransUnion expects at least 1 million more borrowers to end each month over the summer. The Trump administration has already resumed collections through the education department, beginning with in the coming weeks. Borrowers with balances of at least 270 days past due could see wage garnishments of up to, are you ready for this? 15%. That is 1.5. That is 15%. So there you go. So this is according to Wall Street Journal. It's worth remembering during the initial pandemic era, student loan payments were on pause. The Education Department instituted a 0% interest rate, and the past due balances were not reported, so credit scores were unaffected. Interest rates and credit reporting did not resume for over 3 full years during the time of the estimated 18% of borrowers made any progress of all of their balances, despite the 0% interest, an average monthly payment of under $140. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are talking. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, so no doubt there in regards of all the stuff that is happening inside of the world. So just keep that in mind as we are talking. So there you go. Also, Ferrari is putting in a second fully electric model on hold for at least 2 more years, pushing back the rollout of the next year until at least 2028. Go figure. The elite automaker says that it's just not enough demand for a Ferrari that runs on a battery. Still, Ferrari will begin to roll out the first fully electric model later this year, with a formal world premiere next spring. This is according to sources point out that sustainable demand of non-existent for electric sports cars. I mean, let's be realistic here. Nothing wrong with the electric car. For the most part, if you drive a Tesla, if you drive a Rivian, if you drive some of these manufacturers that, that's what they sole design do, hey, not bad in regards to what's going on. But if you are a muscle car person, if you are a sports car aficionado, there's some noises, some revs, and all that kind of fun stuff that if you decide to go the electric route, they're not going to make those sounds. And you're going to feel like you're losing it when it comes to certain things, because you want some of that stuff.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. A North Carolina man hired to maintain the lawn in a Charlotte area home faces charges after he threw a house party while the owners were away. Yep. Over the weekend, 37-year-old Michael Brown was arrested at the property after neighbors called a noise complaint and traffic hazards and otherwise quiet area. The sheriff's office says that Brown invited several hundreds of people to the shindig. Of course he did. Brown has been charged his guests to cover the use of the house and for the festivities. Brown now faces a slew of charges, including breaking and entering, second-degree trespassing, contributing to delinquency of the minor, is what it says, injury to real property, and obtaining property for false pretenses. In a statement about the arrest, the sheriff's office, pretty smart, assessly said that Brown was specifically told that he has a guest at our detention center and not a resident, and ordered not to throw any parties in our phone cell while trying to secure the bonding from the company. This is according to ABC News. I guess it's kind of sarcasm, but I kind of like it. Go figure. Me liking some level of sarcasm when it comes to stuff.
It's the show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yes, Rated R Safety Show, as we are still hanging and banging and doing all kinds of fun stuff here. I guess before I forget, I should probably mention this because I have not mentioned it yet. But yes, if you are interested, Conklin Conference going on in regards of inside of our world. And what do I mean when I say that? Well, Conklin Conference 4 coming up September the 9th through the 11th of 2025. What's going to be taking place? Well, we got some stuff going on. Always have some stuff going on. So, Conklin Conference will consist of Todd Conklin, of course, Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Jennifer T. Long, Andrea Baker, Mark Yeston, and I will be there in a hosting capacity in regards if you want to come and hang out and take a look-see of what we have going on. That's Conklin Conference 4, September the 9th through the 11th, Santa Fe, New Mexico. You can find out more information by going to safetyfm.com or scanning the QR code that's on the screen right now. And once you get to safetyfm.com, just click on the section that says live events. That will take care of you in regards of what is going on. So there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this. A New Jersey lifeguard was impaled by a 6-foot-long beach umbrella while working along the Jersey Shore this week. Going in her shoulder and out her back, first responders had to use a bandsaw to cut the stake into a smaller piece before loading her into the ambulance. No word yet on what exactly how the impaling occurred, though it's been suggested that she was chasing a rogue umbrella down and the beach and fell onto it. Fortunately, the prognosis is good. She was reportedly conscious and, according to the local fire chief, in good spirits and on her way to the hospital. For the record, injuries from airborne beach umbrellas have become so common that Consumer Product Safety Commission issued a voluntary safety standard for manufacturing them. This is according to the New York Post. So hold on. Let me make sure I understand this. Getting impaled by an umbrella at the beach is so common that it is now referenced like, hey, yeah, this shit just happens all the time. Deal with it. Okay, that sounds a little scary, but that's okay. Those things always sound scary as we are talking. Let's get into the swamp real quick. President Trump has negotiated higher defense contributions from NATO nations, which will soon begin to spend up to 5% of their GDP on their defense programs. Worth noting, the increases from about 2% to 5% will happen gradually over the next decade. If only they showed so much restraint in spending on social program giveaways. The only holdout appears to be Spain, which seems to intent of sticking to the 2% level. During the press conference, Trump said he'll personally broker a trade deal that costs Spain twice as much as it would if they just ponied up like everyone else. I do like Spain, by the way, he added, saying, I think it's unfair that they're not paying. So there you go, calling them out inside of the world with everything that's going on. So there you go. What do you think? Always an interesting time when we have any kind of level of press conference whatsoever, if you know what we're talking about there. So there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this. The Dow lost about 106 points to close at 42,982 on Wednesday. The S&P was flat at 6,092. And let's see, the NASDAQ gained about 61 points to close at 19,973. West Texas Intermediate closed at $65 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $66 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.22 on Wednesday, and Bitcoin gained on Wednesday well over $107,000. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $348 million jackpot or a $151 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, it is time to do so now. So there you go. Some stuff to do. Anyways, prosecutors in the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial sent a letter to Judge Aaron asking him to streamline the jury's instructions. More specifically, they are no longer pursuing theories that he was involved in attempting arson and attempting kidnapping. So instruction on those alleged acts are no longer necessary. Closing arguments are set to take place Today. So there you go. some stuff going on inside of the world as we are talking. So there you go. Okay, what else do we got for you? Guess who booked rooms for the super luxe Amen Venice Hotel Venice this week? Have begun giving the boot in favor of those attending Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding. Insiders tell Page 6 that they rented the entire place for their stay, and security personnel were there earlier this week doing a full sweep of the property. As for guests who got the boot, they were relocated to other hotels in the area, including the St. Regis with rooms comped by Amen. Originally, the couples were going to hold the festivities at another place, but that was changed due to protests and banners reading "No space for Bezos." This is according to Page 6. Take a listen to this one real quick. Some fans think that it's time that AC/DC calls it quits. Footage from one of their recent performances has fans questioning whether it's worth buying a ticket, especially those down under, where the band is heading next. I was going to tickets and saw this. One fan commented on the clip, which shows the band members struggling to keep up with the lyrics, while another suggested to retire to save their legacy. Supporters also chimed in, telling critics that they would be foolish to expect them to perform the same level as they did in their prime, which I could understand that. Just some things to talk about. Is this not going to be realistic? What else do we have? Billy Idol said that in a recent interview that he wasn't surprised at all to find out that he has a third child. Given to his promiscuous lifestyle, the 69-year-old tells iNews that there was very little shock when he found out a few years ago about his son, Brant, who was born in the 80s. We were going around in the 80s and the 70s just knocking down drag out sex with millions of people you didn't know, he quipped. A lot of children in the rock world got children beyond their usual relationships. Idol long believed that he was the father of 37-year-old William and 35-year-old daughter Bonnie, but thanks to 23andMe DNS tests, later found out that her half-brother Brant. As for whether he thinks that there's others out there, I think we would know about them now if there were. So there you go. Hopefully nothing new pops up. So there you go. Let's give you one more, just real quick. Fitness influencer Brian Johnson's, a.k.a. the Liver King, faces misdemeanor charges allegedly making terroristic threats against Joe Rogan. Man to man, I'm picking a fight with you. I have no training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt, so you should dismantle me. But I'm picking a fight with you. Your rules, I'll come to you whether you're ready. Johnson's, whether you're ready. Whenever you're ready is what it says. Johnson said in a video to Rogan on Monday. From there, he continued posting videos urging Rogan to accept his challenge. For those unfamiliar, Johnson became known as the Liver King after selling health supplements based on his primitive lifestyle, which includes eating raw meat. Rogan, who has never interacted with Johnson, did mock him on his podcast over the claims that he didn't take steroids to achieve his bulky physique. The contention was then featured in the Netflix documentary Untold: The Liver King. So then let's get into it. Once it was all said and done, we come to find out that he was spending almost $11,000 a month on steroids or human growth hormones after, selling this stuff for a long period of time. And it's not alleged, it's on the documentary, and he admits that he did it. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, let's get into our main story, because I think it is time to do that right now. Like, seriously, like right now, we should probably get into the main story. Do we not want to do that? Oh, I see what it is. My soundboard wants to lock up on me.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, main story time. So let's hang out, let's talk, let's move, let's groove, all the fun stuff that is going on. So if you're not familiar, which you should be at this point, because I think we've talked about it quite a bit. Yes, we have the trilogy book that's out, the Signal Transmission Trilogy. We talk about the hop concepts inside of here. We talk about simulation theory. We talk about signal quite a bit. And I have been kind of shocked with the amount of people that have been reaching out about the last book in particular. I mean, a lot of love for the first book. Second book came out, and then there's been some things that have come out in regards of the third book, which has been out for about 2 weeks now. And the third book, well, that's the safety transmission book. So there you go. A lot of people asking some questions in regards to it because there's a whole section that's in here that we start talking about some stuff that people were like, what? And I guess I want to talk in particular about the portion that we start talking about doing the same things over and over again. And a lot of people had questions about that. Because inside of this one, we start talking about how some organizations will try to do the same thing they did before to resolve new problems. And that is never going to work. Not that you have to have a new infrastructure every time you have a new problem, but we have to have conversations about some of the stuff that we're doing. And listen, just because something worked a while ago does not mean that it will work in something new that's going on. And what I am asking people in some of these books is for them to sit back for a moment and really get a feel for what is happening. Really get a feel for what is going on. Because what takes place most of the times, we are so interested in jumping in, taking over, and not paying attention to what the hell's going on, that it gets weird relatively quick. And I mean that with the best intentions. So think about this for a moment, just for a brief moment in time. I want you to think about a new rollout that has occurred inside of your workplace. A new rollout. Anything that you can envision. Anything that you can imagine, okay? And then out of the blue, the world changes. Life changes. Things got a little bit more difficult than what they were. What is your natural reaction? Are you going to default back to exactly what was being done before? Because I feel that a lot of times that's exactly how it goes. We default back to what we were doing previous to. Not that it was easier. It's that sometimes we look at it and go, how crazy it is to change everything. So think about that for a moment. Just a brief moment. Don't give a lot of thought to it, but just think about it for a moment. How will that work inside of your world? See how it gets weird? Because we default to the things that we know. Trying something new is not easy. Like, I interact quite often with other psychologists and sometimes psychiatrists and talking about techniques and things that you can try out. And it's not easy to do. Like, if you want to see a challenge today, go the whole day without asking anyone a question. Go the whole day. Just try it. Matter of fact, let's do it this way. Have a person that you work with, in particular, just one, but that you normally interact with, and go the whole day without asking them a single question. And then if you want to challenge yourself on day 2, go the whole day without asking them a question or giving them a command on what you're trying to accomplish. And let's see how that works. So by default, we will revert back to what we do or what we did, opposed to trying to incorporating new techniques. So what I will ask you today is try something different and don't revert back. If you can do it for a minute, then try to do it for 5 minutes. If you can do it for 5 minutes, then try to do it for 10, and increase. If you default back, then start over again. It's not as easy as it sounds sometimes. And I'm telling you that if you work on these things, it can change everything.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found. Stop what you are doing. Radio Big is in the mix.
It's okay, 'cause you're worth the risk. Falling in love never like this. I wanna be where you are forever. There's nothing better than us together. Feel so young and I feel in love. You're a dream, I'm never waking up. No, I'm not.
Okay, we are still hanging out here on the Jay Allen of the Morning Show, also referred to as the Rated R Safety Show during hour number 1. As we are simulcasting across the multiverse of all the stuff we get to do around here. Anyways, thanks for hanging out as we are 45 minutes past. And take a listen to this. This is specific with WYAF. Yeah, go figure what it means for yourself, if you know what I'm saying.
Never want to leave, never. I think
so, songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Oh yeah, threw that in there. Rhyme and reason, baby. Rhyme and reason. Okay. We would like to thank Pacific for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Little stuff going on inside of the multiverse. Yeah, we are doing our thing, no doubt about that. So there you go. Anyways, let's get back into the move and the groove of the things that we have going on. If anything, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and the people at To Write Love on Her Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com, and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support. That's the way that it works. All kinds of information readily available for you, just for you to know. TWLOHA.com, and click on the section that says Find Help. So with that being said, let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the multiverse, because that is the way that it works around here. So let's start talking right away. Summer 2025 is turning up the heat, literally. And let's see, the temperatures are soaring into danger zone. Air conditioning isn't just a luxury anymore. It has come as a health essential. But what's the right thermostat setting to stay safe and avoid sky-high energy bills? Experts say that 78 degrees Fahrenheit, or 25.6 degrees Celsius, is the sweet spot for the daytime comfort and energy efficiency. Of course, not everyone agrees. Many prefer cooler settings, but setting the temperature a bit higher can cut costs. And one idea is to bump it about 4 degrees Fahrenheit at night, heading out and then setting it 7 degrees higher, or even more when you're out. So, what do you say? Some other easily say that to keep it cool, close curtains, seal air leaks, avoid cooking with heat, and use fans with AC, not instead of AC, of course. And remember to check on the kids, seniors, and anyone vulnerable. If things get too hot, local cooling centers and public spaces can offer relief. Sorry, experts, but I set mine not quite I set mine not quite give me frostbite. Thanks. So there you go. Energy efficiency. I'm trying to get a little bit more money efficient. I was talking to some neighbors around here. Or let me rephrase that, because that's not a true statement. I was reading some of the community pages around here in regards to people in the neighborhood that I'm at, and they were saying they were paying $500 or up to $500 for their electric bill. And I thought that was crazy. I just think that that's crazy, that amount for electricity. But then again, if we're keeping it 100, I've been a solar person for quite some time. So, using the efficiency of the sun in regards to what's going on. So I don't know. just some stuff to talk about as we are moving forward. Anyways, with that being said, there's all kinds of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that just seems to be the way that things go around here. So why don't we do this? Why don't we bring in Mr. Positive himself, John Small? Let him tell us about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute, and then we'll get back into the oogity boogity of all the stuff that we get to do. So if you're ready, I'm ready. We can bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about everything that is going on with the Motivation Minute, because why would you not want to do that? So here he is right now. John Smalls coming your way.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Fletcher. Leonardo da Vinci said, "I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do." I love this. I like to do things that other people say are impossible. I did that back in the 1990s. I worked in a darkroom at a newspaper in my hometown. A new type of black and white film came out that could be processed at a 1-hour Photoshop. I loved it and I wanted to switch over to that film, but I also needed to be able to develop it in-house. Well, the company said that couldn't be done. I experimented and I found a way to do it. I called them back to let them know, and they didn't really seem to care.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. When we approach God with less than complete honesty, we become actors playing a role, what the Bible calls a hypocrite. As a consequence, we can have only the most superficial relationship with the Lord, because the self we bring to the relationship is a false self. When we pretend to be something we are not, our spiritual life lacks vitality, and our relationships are shallow and unfulfilling. Lord, wrestle with us in the dark night of our duplicity, until, like Jacob of old, we own up to who we really are. Force us to confess and claim our identity. Believing such honest confession births the intimacy that makes us new. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Two leaders at the NATO summit in The Hague have reached agreement on significantly increasing defense spending across member nations.
President Trump emphasized alliance unity, while European counterparts pledged to raise their contributions in coming years. Analysts say this marks a pivotal shift in collective security policy amid rising global tensions. Officials noted the deal includes steps toward modernizing military readiness across the alliance. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Additional satellite imagery has confirmed extensive damage to Iran's nuclear facilities following recent U.S. airstrikes targeting underground sites.
Officials report that the attacks have delayed Iran's enrichment program by several months. Tehran's foreign ministry continues to condemn the strikes, urging international bodies to intervene. Meanwhile, diplomatic channels are reportedly working to stabilize the situation. Countries with interests in the region are monitoring developments closely. Benjamin Wright reporting.
In Croatia, maritime archaeologists have uncovered a well-preserved 18th century vessel submerged near Dubrovnik's medieval walls.
Experts say the find offers valuable insight into Mediterranean maritime trade of the period. Local authorities are preparing to secure the site for detailed underwater excavation. Historians expect the vessel's cargo and design will illuminate regional history. Preparations include a collaborative effort with international conservation teams.
This is the latest news headlines.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture has reversed its roadless rule, opening nearly 58 million acres of national forest land to potential development.
The decision aims to enhance access for logging, mining, and infrastructure projects. Conservationists warn the move could threaten ecosystems and drinking water sources. Supporters argue it will create jobs in rural regions. Legal challenges are anticipated from environmental advocacy groups. Kyle Norris reporting.
Officials in Colorado are investigating a disturbing incident in which a man reportedly reportedly set fire to individuals on a public street.
Emergency services responded rapidly, and the suspect is now in custody. Victims have been hospitalized with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Local law enforcement has increased patrols and is reviewing surveillance footage. Community leaders are organizing counseling and support services. Jessica Oakley reporting.
In the Lake Tahoe area, search teams have recovered the final person missing in a recent storm-related boat accident, raising the confirmed death toll to 8.
Rescue personnel praised the extreme efforts made under adverse weather conditions. The U.S. Coast Guard continues to investigate safety protocols and boating regulations. Memorial services are being arranged by local authorities. The incident has prompted renewed calls for improved storm warning systems. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
If you think local radio sucks, wait till you hear our free-form station, Radio Big.
Oh, yes, if you think local radio sucks, this is not going to get much better for you, as we are talking, no doubt about that. Anyways, 55 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's talk about some things that happened back on this day. Back in 2018, WHO confirms the polio outbreak in New Guinea 18 years after it was declared free of the disease. A total of 3 cases prompted the declaration of an outbreak that happened back on this date, back in 2018. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, let's talk about them. Mikey Williams turns 21. Harley Quinn Smith turns 26. Jacob Elrodi turns 28. Ariana Grande turns 32 today. Jeanette McCurdy turns 33. King Bach turns 37. Aubrey Plaza's 41. Michael Vick turns 45. Ryan Tedder turns 46. Derek Jeter, 51. Sean Hayes, 55. Nick Offerman, 55 as well. Mac Leschesner turns 55. Chris O'Donnell as well, 55. Irv Goody, 55 as well. What else do we have going on? Let's see. Shannon Sharp turns 57. Chris Isaac, 69. And Robert Davi turned 72 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, it's National Work From Home Day, National Handshake Day, and National Chocolate Pudding Day. As long as it's not National Chocolate Pudding Day and then the Handshake Day on top of it, I guess we're okay as we start talking, no doubt about that. What else do we have going on? Let's take a look. If you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you. 95% of people say at my workplace thinks that I'm hilarious. The other 5% is HR. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What is the longest day of your life? The day that never comes. Anyways, if you need something for the water cooler, try this. In a survey, job seekers were asked what non-negotiable perks they are looking for, and 76% said that this is the most important thing. What is it? Paid overtime. Paid overtime. That is the most important thing. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over exclusively to Radio Big. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't, that's fine. You can hang out here on Safety FM with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. Yep, that's what he has going on. No doubt about that. So you can join him here. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. We can complain that rose bushes have thorns or rejoice because thorns have roses. Think about that. That could actually infiltrate the way you think about stuff. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
Never gonna leave your side. No matter what comes, I'll be beside you. I'm gonna leave it all behind. No matter what comes, I'll be